Yo, so you see the current state. So we had an oil pressure issue. We had an oil pressure issue from shortly after it started. I originally thought it was the break-in oil just wearing down. Long story short, I'm pretty sure it's a cam bearing issue. Of course, those that have been following me for how long, you already know that that's the one bearing I didn't change. So when I pulled the intake off in the valley, you can't see now, it's got shaving in there, like copper shaving. So the only thing that could make it up there in a LS would be the cam bearings. So I'm gonna pull this thing apart, pull it out. Big things to come, as you will see, but just want to get you guys updated and let you know what's going on. So let me get back to it. You already know. Damn shame. It's always something. We are starting this teardown. I think I already know what's going on, but we'll see if my assumptions are right. I believe the cam bearing is jacked in this thing, so I believe I mentioned that already, but you see, that's not supposed to be there. I don't see them sticking out, but we'll see in a minute, so wish me luck. All right, back to it. All right, so we're tearing this thing apart, pulling these rockers off, push rods. If you roll the push rods on the table, you can tell if they're bent or not. Everything's looking good. Pulling off the rear flex plate. Again, everything looks fine so far. Heads come off, look good. Some carbon in the cylinders. I was on the Holly tune, so obviously it's gonna not be as good as you would think. Lifters look fine. The wear on the cam from the lifters look great. Pulling the oil pump apart looks fine. Way better than it should have. Pulling everything else off, getting all the plugs off and everything. Pan's coming off. This one I see a bunch of stuff in this pan and I'm like, okay, this thing is done. Pulling the, what is that, oil pump. Try to pull the cam out. That's when we get into some issues. I'm like, all right, let me pull this bottom end off. I pull the crank and the rods out and see what's going on with this cam. Again, thought it was the cam from the beginning, but this definitely told me. So once I got the crank out, it was obvious it is done data. So everything else looked good. Rings look good, you know, pistons look fine. So we are fully torn apart. Verdict is, drum roll, what I thought it was, cam bearing. Let me get you guys a light. Hold on. All right. That is not supposed to be there. That is the cam bearing from number 3. I didn't even look. Well, 1, 2, yeah, number 3. So that one molded to the cam shaft. So that's my fault. That's the one bearing I didn't change. I bought tools to measure them from Amazon, and the spring in the damn tool must have been messed up. Every time I would read it, it would change like a lot. And so I'm like, okay. Forget this tool. So then I looked at like buying real tools. They're like $500-600. Used ones are like $400 plus the cam bearing. I'm like, that's ridiculous. So I was like, okay, well, I could take it to the machine shop, have them change the bearings. And then it's like, well, what's the point at that point to rebuild it on your own? You might as well take it to the machine shop. And then anyone that knows LS stuff, everybody's always like, don't look at the cam bearings because they'll be bad. So I'm assuming the statement meant no matter how bad they look, they're still good. Again, I don't think it was because they were bad to begin with. I think it's because I put a brand new cam in there, didn't measure the lobes. That, you know, the clearance must have been too tight there. But that starved the motor for oil. Shout out to these bearings though, these main bearings, because main and rod bearings, mainly, because that used to be black and copper. It's all the way through the it's almost through the babbitt to the copper. Well, it's to the copper, but they should have spun, for sure should have spun. they didn't. My thrust bearing too is it's pretty worn out. I don't know if that's from the thrust initially or because of the lack of oil. I'm thinking it's because of the lack of oil, because the wear on most of these bearings are pretty uniform. Like they all have the same amount of wear, which leads me to think that it was more of an oil pressure issue than like a setup issue. But we'll see. It doesn't matter now. It is what it is. I enjoy this as much as special ed as that sounds, bro. Like, yeah, it's cool to ride around, everything's cool, but I like working on it. I'm weird like that, and it gives me a chance to learn stuff, and you guys get to learn with me. Like I said, when I put this thing together, this is the first motor that I built by myself for myself, and it kind of sucks that something like that bit me in the butt, because I could have measured that and like I would have seen it, and if I would have changed the bearings, you know, what if this, you know, I'll be here all day. But I'm glad it wasn't the damn mains and the rods, because that's what I changed. If it was that, my pride would have been hurt. But those got worked because, you know, that damn bearing pulled all the way out. And I drove it for like maybe 2 miles on like 5 psi, so actually more than 2 miles. So, you know, who knows the amount of damage that was done at that point. You can see in the oil pan over there, that's like bearing material. It's not a lot of copper really, but it's the coating that was on the tops of these bearings. You can still see them in the groove. They were all black like that. I think it's like a graphite or moly or something like that. Anyways, I'm gonna do a 408 stroker. I'm debating whether to keep the heads the same. I don't know if the cost will outweigh to go LS3 heads. The compression that I want is cool with these heads. If I run a little bit of a smaller combustion chamber like a LS3 head, it will up the compression a little bit. I want to make my power with boost, not compression, because I'm not going to really be on race gas like that. But anyways, enough running my mouth. I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me. More power to come. I'm trying to think, what else is there that I have to do on this? I might change a lot of stuff on here too, because it's already off. There's some wiring stuff that I skipped last time. Now I have my welder too, so a lot of stuff that I couldn't do before I can now because I have the welder. So I might switch stuff up, like the oil cooler, tranny cooler. I might change that around so that I can make room for that intercooler. We'll see. But I just wanted to pull this apart. It's been just thinking you know what's wrong with something compared to knowing, you know, you can't really sleep on that. You gotta know for sure what's wrong with it. So now I know this is the damn cam bearing, and the cam bearing wiped out all the other damn bearings. So I'm thinking I might get another block, another 6.0, so that I can run this stuff in with that. I might just take all these parts except for the heads. Again, I don't know what I'm gonna do with the heads, but all the bottom end stuff, get another short block, and then when I take this in to get bored out and put, well, I still don't know if I'm gonna have them put it together or if I'm gonna put it together. When I take that in, I could just bring another block and bring these and have them, hey, rebuild all this rotating assembly and put it into this 6.0, and then this one I can bore out. I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna do that. Drop it in the comments what you think, if I should do 2 or 1. I'm kind of set on, if this blows, well, when this blows, to go 427, use a dart block. But I mean, again, like the power that this is gonna be at when it's done being bored out is way more than what I want for the car. Like, I don't need that. I don't want that. I do have a dial a boost to adjust the turbo, but it's in here with the rest of the turbo shit, but I don't need, 2,000 horsepower, 1,600 horsepower. So my original goal was 8. Now that it's going to be a 408, I think I'm going to push it to like 11 max on a dial. So, because it's a stock block too, and I'm not half-inch head studding it. I'm going to main stud it. See if the shop can do dowels for the main caps, and then that's really the only trick stuff. If they have oil squirter, the tool for it, I might have them do that, but I don't know if they'll have it. Yeah, I'll ask them. But anyways, appreciate you guys sticking around. Yes, I know, put a big block in it. Yeah, nope, it's too heavy, bro. It's like an anchor, I'm telling you. Once you go big block to LS or small block to big block, you can't. I mean, straight line is great, power great, but I'm trying to build something that can actually drive and turn, and I can care less about being the first past the finish line anymore. It's been a long time since I posted. I had a bunch of other stuff planned before this thing took a dump. I'll show you guys what was coming up next, but now this is on the back burner. So that's the pole for these, and then there's that kit, that box back there. Basically, it's a harness bar that welds in so that I can have shoulder harnesses. I was gonna get a new driver door, power windows, so I can put that bar in, take my seats to go get upholstered. But now it's a curveball because the heart's done. Debating whether to smooth the firewall because now I have a welder. I think I'm gonna move that fuel line because I have a different intake that's going on this. I'm gonna touch up the frame because the motor's out. Might do a little bit more stuff, I don't know yet. I kind of want to get rid of that booster too. So there's a lot of stuff I want to do, but right now the focus is trying to figure out what route to go here. I don't know. Anyways, appreciate the support. Holla at me. Ciao.